This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. Uh, so good afternoon. Today's class is lichen planus and psoriasis. Pityriasis rosea. And I hope all of you are doing well. So coming to lichen planus, is a common inflammatory disorder of skin characterized by uh, very very characteristic lesions which are violaceous, flat, and very distinctive. And in histopathology, you will see a band-like infiltrate at the dermal junction. What exactly causes lichen planus? It's the exact mechanism of cause is not known, but it's immunological mediated, and there is genetic predisposition association with HLA-B7, HLA-DR1, and HLA-DR10, and also associated with certain disorders like ulcerative colitis, alopecia areata, vitiligo, hepatitis, and primary biliary cirrhosis. And also there are certain drugs which are associated with the lichen planus like NSAIDs, chloroquine, AC inhibitors, and hypoglycemic agents, and mercury, gold, nickel, and also seen in oral lichen planus. This mercury gold nickel sensitivity is seen in oral lichen planus, usually used by dentists to use materials. Next, coming to the clinical features, it can involve skin, mucous membranes, genitalia, nails, scalp, any part of the body. So, associated with intense pruritus, it commonly affects young adults. Males and females are equally affected, and various clinical types are seen. So what are the first characteristic lesions? They are violaceous, erythematous, they are flat, they are shiny, and they are polygonal in shape. The size may vary from 1 mm to 1 centimeter, and they can be discrete or arranged in groups of lines or circles. So as you can see, the picture on your screens is a picture of a typical lichen planus. The lesions are little violaceous. You can see a little violaceous tinge to them, and light scaling will be present. And this is their polygonal, and here they are present in groups. Another picture, see, you can see typical violaceous lesions can be seen. I hope you can appreciate. And this is another picture. So it can affect any part of the body. Another close picture of lichen planus. So this is classic lichen planus. And another the features are Wickham striae. These are fine white lines which are present, and these are more. They become prominent when you apply oil to the lesions. And next is there is something called Kovner's phenomena. That is development of lesions along the line of trauma of the normal skin. And next is clinical types. One is acute widespread involving flexures, especially wrists, forearms, shins, ankles, dorsal feet, anteriors of thighs and flank. And chronic localized, there are around ankles and wrists. And hypertrophic, this is very important type, extensor surfaces of lower extremities. So hypertrophic type is usually seen in the lower extremities. And next is actinic, associated with sun exposure. Here nummular patches, that is round patches with hyperpigmented zone surrounding a hyperpigmented zone is seen. And there is another called lichen planus pigmentosus. Here diffuse macular, that is just change in color of skin, slate gray or brown pigmentation, especially face, neck, and upper limbs. So you won't see anything except the complete change in color of the skin. So this is a picture of hypertrophic. So you can see the lesions comparing to the previous classic type, they are little thicker in this. And this is actinic. See, a zone of light hyperpigmentation surrounding hyperpigmentation zone is seen in sun exposed areas. And this actinic LP can be annular and buccal mucosa. This is actinic LP. There are other types. These are other clinical types of lichen planus, like annular. Annular lesion, lichen planus can be seen in buccal mucosa and nail genitalia. And the linear type of lichen planus means it's like herpes zoster like lesions are present on extremities. Next, sometimes blisters, vesicles, and bulle type of lichen planus can also occur. This also happens in lower limbs and oral cavity. Next, atrophic type of lichen planus. The resolution of annular or hypertrophic lesions, then you can say atrophy. And there is erosive. This erosive lichen planus is seen in oral cavity. And next, follicular lichen planus, also called as lichen planopilaris. This is more common in women than men. Here, affecting the scalp. Here you will see scarring type of alopecia. See, alopecia means loss of hair, which can be reversible or irreversible. So, scarring alopecia means irreversible damage. You won't see any hair after some time also, there won't be regrowth of hair. And next is oral lichen planus. Here, lace-like pattern, white lace-like pattern is seen in the buccal mucosa. And atrophic and type of LP can also be seen in oral cavity. Erosions, erosive and ulcerative type can also be present in oral cavity, and sometimes typical plaque type can also be seen. And coming to the genital LP, genital lesions are common in men than women. Like I told, annular lesions are present, especially over the glands. And next, coming to nails, thin striated nails will be present, like longitudinal striations will be present over the nail plate, and there will be pterygium. Pterygium, there will be a picture later on, I'll show you. This is a picture of typical, as you can see, lace-like pattern present over the buccal mucosa, white lace-like pattern. This is one very common type of oral LP. And the picture where you can clearly see the lace-like pattern of lichen planus. This is the genitalia of the male, like I told you, brown annular. You can see the margin clearly. This annular type of genital LP is common in males. And these are the various types. Like I told you, certain types we should be very careful because they have potential to become malignant, especially the hypertrophic type which will be present over the lower limbs. Also the erosive and ulcerative type of lichen planus which will be present in buccal mucosa, that can also become has a potential to transform into malignancy. Now coming to the for lichen planus, one way to diagnose is the clinical, because the lesions are very characteristic, present in that specific pattern, like involving the flexures, the presence of violaceous color, and the shape of the lesions, the Wickham striae, Cobnus phenomena. All this will indicate the diagnosis. To confirm the diagnosis, biopsy is one of the easiest and cheapest test we can do. And also in pathology also, it will be very clear. You can appreciate very easily the changes. So what are the changes you will see means hyperkeratosis, focal wedge-shaped hypergranulosis, and there will be acanthosis and also sawtooth ridges and basal cell degeneration. Also at the dermoepidermal junction, lymphocytes will be present like a band. See, this is a picture of biopsy of lichen planus. And coming to the differential diagnosis. So what conditions can this disease mimic? This lichen planus means one is disseminated eczema, uh, and the other is scabies, and and next is drug eruption. Drug eruption is very important because there are many drugs which show eruption similar to that of lichen planus. You know, some the typical violaceous lesions will also be present, and pityriasis rosea, psoriasis, prurigo nodularis, and secondary syphilis. And for mucosal lesions, the differential diagnosis is candidiasis. You know, candidiasis will have a white plaque-like lesions present, and if you take a little cotton gauze pad and rub, when you touch that candidiasis lesion, you can easily dislodge that plaque. So that is very one form to, you know, the one test you can do to differentiate if you are confused. And next is leukoplakia, and the other is pemphigus. So uh, coming to the treatment. So how are we going to treat lichen planus? First of all, counseling is very important because it takes lot of time for lichen planus to completely disappear. So you need the patient also will be little frustrated because this is a quite a itchy condition, and there will be loss of sleep and all. First of all, to counsel them is very important. Next, this is a self-limiting disease, usually resolves between 8 to 12 months. And all the treatment we give is because we want to make the patient feel better. And the second thing, because of our treatment, the activity of the disease will come down significantly. And coming to the topical treatment. So what can you do topically? One is calamine lotion, which can be very soothing, and topical steroids for the lesions. And also topical tacrolimus is also a good option, especially in kids. Childhood lichen planus, tacrolimus is better option than steroids because the topical steroids can cause hyperpigmentation, atrophy, and things like that, which you won't see with tacrolimus. So for children, tacrolimus topically is better option. Now coming to the systemic drugs. One is antihistamines. Of course, like I told you, this is a very itchy condition. So the first thing to address is the itch. And next is the steroids, systemic steroids, also to bring down the because steroids are anti-inflammatory, and also they'll bring down the activity of the disease. And next is dapsone is one good option. It's a very like dapsone is very cheap and very easily available, so it's one good option. And next is greasephulvin, retinoids, and puva. Puva is Sorlinx plus UVA, which can also be used in which usually used in psoriasis. And next, another is cyclosporin. Cyclosporin is a good drug. It's a little expensive, but very good drug. It's fast acting compared to the other drugs. And though not mentioned here, another good option is methotrexate, especially for childhood LP. Methotrexate is a good option. We'll give weekly once dose methotrexate, that is good. And next is NB-UVB. It's narrowband ultraviolet B rays. We have a PUA chamber in our department. So in that you have both UVA and B. UVB is more safer for any group. You can give pregnant children, adults, or the old people, anybody you can give NB-UVB. That is also a good effective option. And now coming to the acute widespread lichen planus, we give a little high dose of prednisolone, which is 0.5 to 1 mg per day, and you will taper over a few weeks. Why? For symptomatic control and rapid resolution. And also you have to monitor side effects because we give treatment for a long time in this condition. So the side effects will always be there. So you have to be very careful every time the patient comes for the visit. we'll do the proper tests, every blood test, RBS and everything, because that is very important when giving treatment for long term. Um, and next, coming to the mild cases and localized lesions, then you can give antihistamines and topical steroids like betamethasone valproate or fluocinolone acetonide or mometasone or Teinovate. If all these can be given in mild to mild cases and localized lesions. If it is hypertrophic lichen planus, you should give a very high potent steroid like clobetasol or halobetasol. Also, these also won't penetrate inside the typical hypertrophic LP lesions. The lesion will be very thick. So no matter what you apply, it's not easy to get inside. That is why we give intralesional steroids. So what we do, we take a transferrin acetonide injection, which is 40 mg, and we using an insulin syringe, we inject this solution into the hypertrophic LP lesion. So we inject directly into the lesion. So that way, the thickness of the lesion will come down, and also the topical steroid will also work better if you start giving intralesional steroid. And next is oral lichen planus. How are we going to treat this? You can give topical steroids. There is tesorabase. Triamcinolone acetonide is also present for in orabase form for the oral lesions. No other drug is present like that. It's only triamcinolone. And you can also give topical tacrolimus or cyclosporine. Or similarly, just like other other forms of the treatment, we can give systemic steroids or dapsone, like I told you, cheaper and good alternative. So all this can be given depending on the age, depending on the comorbidities they are having, the extent of the disease they are having. All this we take into consideration and we give treatment. Also, the prognosis and complications which you are supposed to know. The lesions resolve with pigmentation. See, this is a major problem with lichen planus. It will leave a very high pigmented lesions. So the lesion will be very dark in color, post-inflammatory lesion. The patient will always be worried. They'll ask about this pigmentation because the pigmentation is not, it doesn't go, it's not easy to treat the pigmentation. We have to counsel them regarding that also. Um, and, uh, and recurrent episodes can also occur. And the oral lesions can maybe pre-malignant, especially the erosive form of and ulcerative form. They have potential to become malignant. And the alopecia, the scarring alopecia is also one major problem with complication with this condition. So that is about lichen planus in brief. I hope next time when everything resumes, we'll show you a good case of lichen planus with typical lesions, because we always get those cases. They are quite common. Now coming to the pityriasis rosea. So this is another condition which is very common. So what is this pityriasis rosea? It's an acute self-limiting disease, probably infective in origin, affecting mainly children and young adults. They're characterized by distinctive skin eruptions and minimal constitutional symptoms. So the exact cause is uncertain, but this is a viral infection associated with human herpes virus 7 and herpes virus 6 type. And the certain drugs can also cause PR-like eruption, like metronidazole, isotretinoin, arsenic, bismuth, barbiturates, and clonidine, and captopril, and gold. So they're commonly seen in children and young adults between 10 to 35 years of age. Males and females are equally affected and more common in winter. The constitutional symptoms, like all this fever, itching and all, it's quite mild. And what is the first manifestation means First, there will be a patch will develop. We call it as herald patch. It is a large, well-demarcated, round or oval, scaly macule or plot commonly seen on thigh, upper arm, trunk, and neck. Trunk, upper arm, thigh, and neck. These areas are very common. So this typical lesion will develop first in that area. So this is a picture of herald patch. You can see here clearly in this picture. See round, it's oval erythematous annular lesion present over the trunk. This kind of lesion will develop first. And following that, after 5 to 15 days of appearance of herald patch, the patient will develop all the lesions. So after 5 to 15 days of herald patch. So that is why we call it as herald patch. It appears first. Here you will see the lesions will be widespread eruptions will occur in Christmas tree pattern on upper chest and back. Here discrete oval macules will be present, and there is a typical scale called as polarity scaling. What is polarity scale means? The center will be detached, the periphery will be attached. That is the type of scale. See, this is a picture of typical pityriasis rosea, widespread lesions, which these occur after 5 to 15 days of appearance of herald patch. And what are the clinical features? Very mild pruritus will be present. Some will not even have that mild pruritus also. And the oral mucosa will be congested. Constitutional symptoms will be present, like fever and all, but not in all cases. And these lesions they last for 3 to 6 weeks, and they're self-limiting. That is, they disappear by themselves. And these lesions they heal with hypo or hyperpigmentation or no pigmentation also. Sometimes nothing, no PIH. And this is one condition which can be present in an umpteen number of forms. So many forms of this disease are seen. So coming to the what I showed you is the typical clinical lesions. Coming to the atypical presentations, it can be present as papules or papulovesicles or vesicular or purpuric lesions. Lichenoid type or urticaria type of lesions can also be present. And this is one type. And the next coming to the difference in distribution. So the atypical presentation is either the lesions are atypical or the distribution is atypical. So coming to the atypical distribution, there is inverse distribution. Inverse distribution means usually pityriasis rosea is confined to the trunk, thighs, or neck, these areas. So usually upper and lower limbs will not have the lesions. So what is inverse distribution means? All these areas will be spared and the lesions will be present over the limbs. That is inverse type. And next unilateral, only one side of the body will be affected. Or sometimes these herald patch won't be there. Or multiple herald patches can also be there. So that is the atypical presentation. And sometimes axilla and groin can also be affected. And coming to the differential, because this lesion is a little annular, sometimes it is confused with the tinea corporis or some gutted psoriasis or parapsoriasis. They look close to this pityriasis rosea or secondary syphilis, seborrheic dermatitis, P. alba or PLC. This is a picture of secondary syphilis. Usually secondary syphilis, there will be history of like the genital lesions and all will also be present. And coming to the treatment, sometimes no, they don't even require treatment because it's a self-limiting condition. But some people will be worried and they'll come to you. Then what are the treatment modalities? One is sunlight or oral erythromycin, topical steroids, like I said, ND-UB or PUA. ND-UB and PUA only we give in the cases which are resistant to the regular treatment or repeatedly if they are getting PR, like repeated episodes, then we give this NBUV. And also systemic steroids only if the case disease is severe. Thank you. That's it for class today.